All right. Hey there, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the DJ, the Money Coach Financial Expert Series brought to you by the Seven Spheres of Money. Thank you again for joining us. How you doing tonight, DJ?
Hey, man, I'm excited, baby. I get any more excitement, man. I'm going to disappear because I'm levitating right now. That's what it's about. We got another amazing, star on our platform that we're gracious and humbled by her presence.
All right, it sounds like we need some additional weights to tie to your ankles. You know, the sandbags aren't doing the job there. so excited. Why don't you go ahead and let's jump right in and introduce this amazing guest as expert, the way that you do.
Absolutely. So thank you for coming back out to the show. And, I'm DJ, the Money Coach. And if you don't know who I am, real quickly, I'll give you a 30-second, sound bite of who I am. I'm just like you. One point in time, I was told to go to school and get that, piece of paper. And I got that piece of paper and I found out that, I had bad credit. And I found out because I got turned down for a mortgage, about a couple of years after I got out of school. And I actually found out I had a 525 credit score. And I also found out I had $40,000 worth of consumable debt, in addition to $20,000 worth of actual college student loans. So when that happened, I basically just, shrugged it off, didn't really think much about it. But then a couple of years later, I got turned down again by the same bank for a small business loan. At that point, I said, whoa, hold up. I got two choices. I could be the victim or I could be victorious. I decided to become victorious. So I read a book called The Road to Wealth. And I actually didn't read the whole book. I actually read the chapter on how credit actually works. And from the moment I read that chapter on how credit works, 12 months later, I had a 720 credit score. 24 months after I read that chapter, I had an 800 credit score. And my credit has not been lower than 800 since. That was like 15, 16, 17 years ago. I don't know if you guys can see that. That right there is my credit score right there. 827 FICO, baby. And that ain't nothing to be excited about. But I actually was able to pay off all that debt, every $60,000 without filing bankruptcy. That ain't nothing to be excited about. Most people, that is. In 2002, I became consumer debt free, six-figure income earner. And in 2008, I became a seven-figure net worth person in America with a $250,000 income. And it was passively built through businesses, real estate, dividend stocks, and startup investments. I ain't even excited about that, guys. You know what I'm excited about? I actually took this information to my community, started in my church, taught it at the YMCA, started teaching it at the Federal Reserve, started teaching it at the state of Illinois Young Attorney General's office, teaching it at the state of Michigan State Senator's office, teaching about predatory lending, all this good stuff. And in the midst of 20 years, we've sat down with 20,000 people and families and helped them become consumer debt free, increase their credit scores by 100 points in 30 to 45 days or less, help them become financially independent in America, and actually own themselves and help them create what we call a pom-pom lifestyle. That's plenty of money and peace of mind. And we help them travel around the world on the beaches of the World Club. That's what we're excited about. And this person today embodies that. So this person I'm about to introduce you to, I actually had the pleasure of meeting in an organization called AMAC. AMAC stands for the Airport Minority Advisory Council. And I've been a member for a year, and I had the pleasure of speaking on their platform. And I actually networked and met this amazing person. Her name is Robin Gibson. She's been a member of AMAC for almost 20 years, if I'm not mistaken. She's going to correct me. She's actually risen up the ranks and done some amazing things in Philadelphia. And she's accomplished more than most people accomplished in 2 lifetimes by being a master server of the people. What we talk about, Nick, is the platinum rule. This lady exemplifies the platinum rule. And ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know what the platinum rule is, let me share it with you real quickly. The silver rule is what major corporations do. They do the least they have to do to get your money. And once they got your money, they start providing you with bad service and everything because generally people don't complain. The golden rule, we all know, do unto people the way we want to be done unto. And they think that's the best rule. But the best rule, Robin and Nick and everybody out there watching, is the platinum rule. And that means treat people exactly the way they want to be treated. And what does that mean between the three of us? I'll give you an example. I got $50,000. Robin has a car that she likes that costs $50,000. Nick has a car that he likes that costs $50,000. Me, I have a car that I like. It's my money, and I actually like Lexus. But guess what? Nick might like an Audi. Robin might like a BMW. And I roll up and tell them I'm giving them a car and I'm paying for it, but I give them the Lexus. Now they're excited, but they're not off the chain excited because I didn't get them the BMW or the Audi. I got them the Lexus. So the platinum rule would be is I get her the BMW, I get him the Audi, and now they all excited beyond their wildest dreams. That's the platinum rule. And that's what Robin does. And since I've met her, she's introduced me to some people called Bet Talks to actually talk to a youth group that I'm going to speak on behalf. She's introduced me to another group of elementary school teachers that want to help me speak to the youth about consumer education and financial independence. And I'm excited about her ministry and how she goes about her business. And she actually has done some amazing things in the airport industry that are phenomenal, that she went from working for the city airport to actually working for a foreign company because God blessed her. So I don't want to steal any more of that thunder. So I want to introduce everybody to the amazing Robin Gibson with AMAC and also working in the airport industry in Philadelphia. Robin, how are you doing? Thank you for coming on our show, and tell us, how excited are you today in your lovely life?
Thank you, DJ. Thank you, Nick. I am overly excited. I can't keep my seat either. I guess that it's just that elevation. We're all just floating up and down. So I am very happy to be here to get a chance to talk with both DJ and Nick and the actual audience that they have. I can't begin to tell you that this is an amazing opportunity, and I am grateful for the opportunity to actually be before you as well as your audience.
You know that's amazing. And you know what we like to do is we like to keep it conversational, Robin. So tell us your backstory. Tell us a little bit where you're from, how you were raised, and what made you gravitate towards the aviation business. How about we start there?
Okay. So I am born and raised in Philadelphia. I am the daughter of a musician who my father was a minister of music at a church. My mother was a city of Philadelphia worker, but not only was my father a minister of music at a church, my father was the minister of music at a church that was pastored by my uncle, that was founded by my grandmother. My grandmother actually was a politician in her own right in Philadelphia. She was actually one of the first Black delegates for the Democratic Party under the, I can't remember which administration it was. I want to say it was back in Jimmy Carter. It may have been before then, but and the reason I can't tell you exactly what it was is because by the time we came along, Grandma was Grandma. She gave up that life. However, growing up I was born in the late 70s, but my grandmother was very active in the 60s as well as the 70s. And like I said, by the time we came along, she kind of retired and just became grandma. But I actually come from a great family of trailblazers, which in turn made me become or aspire to be a trailblazer. My grandmother, I say my grandmother, but my grandfather also was who he was in his own right, as he was a vet and worked for the VA. And my family, my father's family, they're actually from the DMV area, but they actually are the only ones that moved to Philadelphia. So my father's side is from the DMV area, and they relocated to Philadelphia, where he met my mother, who also is my mother's a Philadelphian, and on my mother's side, my grandfather was as SEPTA bus driver, which is SEPTA is for those that know Southeastern Pennsylvania Transportation, the bus company, the public transportation, and my grandmother was a nurse. So I just had great examples in my family. So growing up, I went to the neighborhood school, and then pretty much went to magnet school. I did pretty well in school, and then as it became time for high school, all my years in my younger years, I was always great in math and was always good in science. So I did like different little science programs. So when it came time to go to high school, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go to school, and I'm gonna go to high school for engineering and science, which is a magnet school in Philadelphia. And I went to high school for engineering science, and I did pretty good, and I still thought I was going to be on that path. But then I kind of, said, all right, did well in high school, time to go to college. As I was looking at colleges, I decided, you know what, I want to go to Clark Atlanta University. And even and one of the things I felt to mention while I was actually in high school, I was a part of NSBE, National Society of Black Engineers. A good friend of mine and church member, she was a student at Drexel University, and she was very heavily involved in NSBE with Drexel. So through her involvement, I would go to the NSBE meetings with all college students, because the Philadelphia chapter of NSBE at Drexel was very active. They would do annual trips, and they would have weekly meetings. So I was very blessed to have great support and you can tell me I wasn't going to be engineer. She happened to be a chemical engineer, and I liked chemical engineering, but I thought, as I was picking colleges, I said, okay, Clark Atlanta sounds good. Want to go to Atlanta, and I want to study biology, because I said chemistry, but let me do biology. I was a biology major, and everything was great in high school until I got to college and realized I don't think I want to be an engineer or a scientist, or who do I not like this? Me being from Philadelphia, going to Atlanta. This was in the 90s, and Atlanta has come a long way from the 90s, because in the 90s, Atlanta wasn't what I thought it was, especially coming from Philadelphia, because pretty much open 24 hours. Like McDonald's was open 24 hours. One of the greatest shocks when I got to college was the actual Burger King down the street from Clark Atlanta University, if you know the areas of Burger King that everybody kind of walks to, is like closing at like 10 o'clock. Like, so
Oh, wow.
for me, that was like, I'm not used to that. I'm a true city girl. And I can't tell you, my story's not that. I grew up worst parts of the city, but a city of Philadelphia. I did not live in the suburbs of Philadelphia. So when I got there and saw that, I was like, yeah, this is a little the hype, and everybody was like Atlanta, and I was like, yeah, I think I need to make a U-turn and go back to Philadelphia quite quickly. TU, Temple, you know, I could have gone on my mind. And Temple was great because when I started looking at, well, what will they do? Will they accept what, you know, my credits, or like how will this impact me? And how will it affect me? And so I was like, oh, they like working with people. I like doing things for people. I'm that person, always have been. How about this? I'm going to go to the School of Business and I'm going to major in Human Resource Administration. And so I went back home and went to Temple. And my parents said, hey, welcome back home. So great you're back. Yeah, we paid for you to kind of do Clark Atlanta, but you came back home. So since you came back home, yeah, you might want to get a job. And and while you're getting a job, you might want to consider paying for your education.
Oh man, I heard that one before.
You know, no problem. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. So when I came back home, I worked full time and went to school full time. So I worked at the time I worked and was blessed that I got a job in the payroll department, which was very easy, simple, and it was in the human resources payroll kind of area. And I did that for this is now year number 3 for me, where I am in school. And Aetna US Healthcare was actually, it is a Bluebell, Pennsylvania company, but Aetna was actually at the time Aetna was based out. And Aetna pretty much said, you know what, because they in the course of the time that I worked there, Aetna had just purchased U.S. Healthcare. And so I did my lovely 2 years and we did all the payroll for the employees in the Bluebell area. But then they decided that they wanted to take the corporate part of Aetna to Connecticut. So I had a choice to move to Connecticut or stay in Philadelphia and have my job eliminated. Greatest thing that ever happened, because of course with the job elimination, I was able to get severance pay and unemployment. So my life changed for the better because I actually at that time was able to drop one of my full-time things, which was working full-time, and I was able to actually go to school, just go to school full-time. And because I was only doing school, I took the maximum amount of credits because I was pretty much in the last year. So it made things easy for me, and I was able to finish in first summer of I finished in I had like 2 classes left over for the summer, so I finished at that time. From a personal perspective, at that time I had during those years I met my ex-husband, and he was actually in the military. So ironically, we were like right after I finished school, we got married, but he was actually going to Augusta. So here I am once again finding myself back in Georgia. So it's funny that I say I am a Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. But I lived 2 different times in the state of Georgia, so I can also claim Georgia as well. So went on and went to Augusta, new fresh college graduate, and had my degree in business administration with concentration. Well, and my major was human resource administration. So here I am, fresh out of college, excited, yay, ready to practice HR. And I go to Augusta, and pretty much Augusta, if you don't know, it is a straight military town, and that's really pretty much that's all there is, like the base. So I was in a city, but in a slower city even than Atlanta. So here I find myself not able to find a job in the area that I actually went to school for. So I'm like, I know I can go to school all these years to not do HR. So as things would happen, my husband at the time was only stationed there for 6 months. So we were making a decision whether we were going to stay or whether we were going to come back. In the course of all of that, right before he was we were kind of deliberating and seeing what was what, my great grandmother passed. And so I said, well, let me go back to Philadelphia and you finish up here and we can make a decision then. So when I got back to Philadelphia, I happened to find a job. And so I'm like, yeah, I think we need to come to Philadelphia because there are more opportunities for both of us. So the job I happened to find was at a staffing agency. And for anybody that is in HR, I will say a staffing agency is a great place to get a HR foundation because you are everybody's you're everything to the people. You actually recruit them. You once you hire them, you become their manager, because if there's truly a problem at a job site, you have to pretty much deal with it even though you're not there. So you have to do that. In your kind of HR recruiting type role, you handle their benefits, their kind of all their general needs. So you get to learn the benefit side of HR. I actually was also the payroll person there, so I still knew how to do payroll. So that experience pretty much made me do or know and practice all aspects of HR. So here I'm rocking and rolling and saying, okay, yeah, this is great. I'm getting to do what I want to do. And I also ironically had the opportunity to do the staffing agency that I worked for. I was the person that did the hiring for the light industrial staffing, and so I hired all the welders, the any light and staffing needs of companies. And I say this is all going to wrap back around, because I said I give you all of that because you never know what you do will come back in a different form, because everything I believe leads to every experience in life helps you with another experience, and it can be completely unrelated. One of the things.
So Robin, did the staffing experience create the bridge to the aviation opportunity with the city of Houston?
City of Philadelphia.
I mean, city of Philadelphia. I'm sorry. City of Philadelphia. I'm speaking for my own city. City of Philadelphia. So was that the bridge that got you into the aviation business in Philadelphia? How did you build that bridge into aviation in Philadelphia?
So I actually kind of in those years I actually became pregnant with my daughter. And when I became pregnant, I had to leave the staffing agency, and because it was a smaller area, I had to pretty much resign. So I kind of found myself again. One of the things that I neglected to say, and going back to wrapping things back around, when I was at Clark Atlanta, I was able to work for the city of Philadelphia. Or some they would hire summer sanitarians, and sanitarians are the people that inspect the food. Like it was in the Department of Health. They inspect the food, they inspect the pools, they pretty much make sure things are so. And that my mother worked for the city of Philadelphia in the health department. Always knew that I wanted to get my good city job with good benefits. So I happened to apply to a job, management trainee for the city of Philadelphia. You had to have the qualifications at that point was you had to either have a degree in human resources, accounting, public administration, or marketing, qualified for HR. So I took the test and passed the test. And the way the city of Philadelphia works is whenever you're up against a you get ranked, and you get a number. And when you're up against a person for a job, they have something called the rule of two, and you're only, no matter where you are, once they get to your number, it's two people that interview for the position that I interviewed for was central personnel. And I did not get that position because they basically said, we couldn't decide. We like both of you. We couldn't decide how to make the decisions. The other person scored higher on the test than I. So they went and took her just because that was the only way they could figure out a way. So my next call was for the department. Didn't want to fill their position. My third call was for the airport.
Okay.
And not only was it for the airport, but the crazy thing was it was and the airport has an HR department. It was for property management and business development. And going back to what I say, why things always wrap around. Is property management and business development. They actually are, as I call them, they're the landlord of the airport. But being the landlord of the airport, of course, you have the aviation areas, but you also have the actual food, beverage, and retail is very big.
So you became the manager
in that. So at the city. How?
I said, so you became the manager of land development and aviation and over vendor contracts?
I was actually I started out as management trainee and going to be the assistant director of aviation for property management and business development. But we actually manage the you kind of manage all of the tenants, and one of those food and beverage. So my experience at the health department kind of came into play. And then also, because it is property management and business development, we actually provide access to my light industrial training came into play because we utilized a lot of different, depending on what was being done to the building, to the airport, to the terminal. We also would have to deal with different, even though I wasn't necessarily in engineering, we still had to make those connections. So those things actually came into play.
Oh, okay, man, that's awesome. So your experiences actually put you in position to actually run a much bigger opportunity. So from that standpoint, tell me about aviation trade organizations you belong to, your involvement in them, and why. And how did you connect it? How did you get connected to AMAC? And did you get fast tracked from where you were to where you are now? Expound on that. Give us about 60, 90 seconds, telling us about that, pathway of your life.
So when I came to Philadelphia International Airport in 2003, the airport hosted the AMAC conference in 2004. One of my first assignments was so as I was put on the conference planning committee, I learned about the organization, but also the department actually had responsibility for what is called the ACDBE for Airport Concession Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. Was also involved that way. So starting out hosting the with being on a conference planning committee, and then with my regular duties, some of my regular duties being responsible for the actual ACDBE program, I was able to kind of very easily come into AMAC. And then at that time, there was actually with the actual ACDBE program comes from the requirement comes from the FAA, and we had to, in Philadelphia, do some things to improve our program. So I ended up being selected, or kind of indirectly, to do a lot to modify the way we were running our program at that particular time. So in some sense, I was kind of pushed into the organization, but I ended up developing a love for the organization, which brings me to the point where I am now. I've always been involved and been on different task force with the organization. I've spoke at many conferences and did many different workshops, helped even with workshop planning. But now one of the things, two of the positions I hold now, I am the Eastern Regional Director for AMAC. And I am also the chair of the Governance and Performance Management Committee. So my Eastern Regional Director position actually puts me on the board of AMAC.
Oh, okay. So you are a consensus builder and a leader at the same time, that enables you to actually interact with a whole bunch of different people, different organizations within the aviation community, which has helped you, basically rise up to a very high and significant position in the aviation industry. Explain to us your experiences as an African-American woman, some of the challenges that you had to overcome, and what are some of the things that a young person that were looking at this industry, aviation, from the simple fact, there's very few of us in aviation. I mean, first and foremost, I think that's the reason why the STEM aviation program is so important today, is that we need to get more exposure. We need to know more about the Robin Gibsons of the world and how can not only you be a trailblazer, but how can you show us a blueprint for, you know, young Black women and young girls that actually want to aspire to achieve? So talk to that for us. Give us like, you know, 90 to 120 seconds of encapsulate what that means to you and those challenges, how you turn lemon into lemonade, and how can we find the blueprint to share that with younger girls and young adults that look like you as well.
So aviation, as you said, is a area that most minorities don't know about, especially the area that I am in, specifically in property management and business development, which is kind of the commercial management arm, the revenue generating arm. It is, excuse me, it is very white male dominated.
Yeah, it's important dealing with that money. They don't want us to know about that money. You behind the scenes with that money. Talk to us, Rob. Talk to us. Now you're talking.
Exactly. That is something that we definitely don't know. I'll even say a lot of us don't realize how much money is in the aviation industry, and just how many billions of dollars actually come through the concession program that I used to manage. I
what
managed.
Would you say your budget was annually that you managed at the highest level?
So here's the thing: my concession program, food, beverage, retail, they did about 200 million in sales annually, and
Wow.
then the rental car, you all don't realize, the rental car is a concession as well.
Wow, that's considered a concession.
That is a concession. The rental car industry is a concession, and they do about at the airport. They do about $200 million in revenue. You have little smaller concessions where you'll have like advertising. They'll do about 5 million, but parking, they do about 30 million in revenue. And we're not even, I'm talking about non-aeronautical revenue. Understanding that if the non-aeronautical side is doing that, imagine what the aeronautical side is doing that. So when you look at just the revenue that comes into, and I can speak to Philadelphia International Airport because I was there for 17 years. Was you know, there was about $400 million in revenue that you know, was generated annually. And so, and wow. I'm just saying that's for the airport. So
okay.
When you
let me ask you a question, Robin. If I wanted to get in your position, what would be the academic program I would follow to eventually, you know, mature into a position or get promoted and grow up the fast track to do exactly what you do? Because that's amazing that you oversaw hundreds of millions of dollars in which I would perceive as ancillary income versus the aeronautical income, but that's a lot of money. So if I'm a young woman or a young Black male looking at you right now, what courses and curriculum would you recommend that I take to get myself on the fast track, and organizations should I be involved with? Probably AMAC would be one, but what courses would I take? Because you had a totally different pathway, but which ones would you advise them to take right now if they wanted to do what you're doing currently today?
So there are aviation schools, aeronautical or aviation management. So that's one path to it. But if you wanted to not go that path or go to an Embry-Riddle or something like that, I would recommend business.
Okay.
Business pretty much opportunity to get into this. And if you're into real estate, that's one avenue to get you into that, or commercial development. development. But what I find is I talk to my colleagues across the street is the majority of them are not that. They usually had some kind of business degree and ended up into this area. Sometimes you the actual area, but it's more contract management and business kind of in general business development. So I would recommend someone to if you're really interested to get business.
Now you're also a master,
and that could be finance.
I think we got a little lag. What I was going to ask you, I said you're also a master networker, and you were telling me that you were actually put in a position where someone mentored you, that you were telling me about a person who played a significant role in your growing process in the aviation industry, specifically in Philadelphia before you moved into your current position. Who was that person and how important of that role was? And I think the question here is so unique is because it has a lot to do with what's going on.
So in the aviation, so I got just a little bit. So I heard who mentored me, and then what was the ending part of that question?
I was saying that person that mentored you, how important networking is and how important it is to have that apprenticeship relationship. And the importance of it is that in the world we live in now, we have a relationship challenge, but you actually had a relationship that transcended that. And you and I talked about this offline several times. So talk to how important that was and how that can actually bring us back to humanity.
So one of my biggest mentors and my biggest supporters was my boss. His name is James Tyrell. He was the deputy director of property management and business development, and he pushed me more than anything. Sometimes you work for people and they're afraid to let you shine. And I will say he was like my biggest, to this day, he is still a person I could call. He's my biggest supporter. He put me in places, in positions, gave me assignments that I had that type A personality that was going to, I wanted it right. And he was not intimidated to let me kind of head it. And he pushed and supported to make those around me support me. When there were special projects, one of the things that I'm grateful for at PHL is because not only did I get to do things specific related to property management and development, was PHL did a citywide annual job fair, and I was very instrumental in planning, being on the planning committee, but also getting all of the actual nations that do business with PHL to participate in that job fair. Another opportunity that I had, we did a business opportunity forum, economic business opportunity forum. Year was in the planning on that every year, and also instrumental in getting people to participate, and those things actually help other people kind of grow. So I've been fortunate to be in places to help people through inside the airport, but then also through organizations like AMAC and another organization that I belong to that I did not mention that was very instrumental in aviation, is an organization called ACI-NA, North America. Airport Council International North America is a very respected organization that also allowed me that opportunity. And then my third organization that I was very active in is an organization called Women in Transportation Seminar. And just to kind of go to one of the things for me, all of those trade organizations kind of mean different things to me. AMAC is Airport Minority Advisory Council. So that gives me the opportunity to, one, help minority and women in aviation, contracting, and employment, and also be a part of that environment, and it's minority focused. As you see, I am a minority, and it also is a minority in women because it focuses on the DBE and ACDBE program, which is minority and women. But then I have a WTS Women in Transportation Seminar, which gives me a broader transportation aviation is a part of the transportation industry, but there's other transportation modes. You have transit, you have the Department of Transportation, and you have the actual rail, etc. So that gives me that variety, but it also gives me, I am a woman, as you can see. So it gives me that. And then I have ACI, and the reason I in ACI is just a overall aviation organization where it has all types of aviation professionals. It is not necessarily truly geared towards a minority or women, even though they have different committees that like one of the committees I am on is the business diversity committee, or but it's still my kind of overall organization. So as you kind of, as one of the things I would say is, as people kind of look at what organizations they want to belong to, you kind of need to have a plan on that as well, because you use different ones for different things. If I decided most likely that I wanted to come out of aviation, I could easily kind of look at my network within WTS because it's different transportation modes besides aviation. If I just wanted to do something different in aviation, I could look at AMAC, but also just to give me a broader audience, I could also look at ACI. And another organization that I would encourage is COMTO, which is Conference of Minority Transportation Officials. Too, I was in COMTO, not as active as I was with AMAC, WTS, and ACI, but I did also support COMTO as well.
Okay, so if I hear you correctly, Robin, I know we got a little lag. If I hear you correctly, the key thing here is the ability to network and to get involved. And I did an interview the other day with Dr. Randall Pinkett, and he said it's not who you know, but who knows you. And what I can understand is that you put yourself in position to get a lot of people to know you, but also know that you have effectively helped build and manage these very multi-million, billion-dollar enterprises that made you very valuable. So with that said, you told me about, you spent 17 years with the Philadelphia National Airport, but then you had a stumbling block, but because of your master ability to network and get people to know who you are, it actually translated into your current position. Can you talk briefly about that and the importance of, facilitating these relationships that at first to you seemed like you were, looked over and you were training the person to become your boss, but then God was preparing you for a bigger opportunity with this foreign company. Talk about that. Give us about 90 seconds and give us that backstory of how important that became to you now.
Yes. So as you said, I was at PHL for 17 years and thought I would still be there. But when there were some management changes and they brought in some people to actually kind of people that hadn't had been there or really aviation experience, the depth of experience that I had. So as I kind of saw that, I said, okay, my daughter was my youngest daughter was pretty much at a point where she was get ready to go to college. So I began to one of the great things about working at PHL is it allowed me to travel, but it also pretty much allowed me to be home. And also it allowed me the flexibility to kind of be a mom. And in the course of things, I became a single mom of two daughters. So I had to be there for my daughters. So as the transition happened, other people, it is definitely not who you know. It is always who knows you. So from my involvement in the different organizations, specifically AMAC and ACI, I've got to know a lot of different airport CEOs, airport business owners, airport concessionaires, airport rental car concessions, food, beverage, retail concessions, etc. So when I kind of other people, I didn't even necessarily tell people what was truly going on. People, as you kind of begin to talk or just be around, people sometimes notice what is going on, and you don't even have to say anything. And I didn't truly put it. I was still deliberating on what was going to be, and I didn't put it out there. But some people kind of noticed my talent, and they said, "Look, we have this opportunity. We have a great company, but there's some things we need to kind of go back and build infrastructure. And as we need to kind of build up infrastructure, I think, you would be great for the job." And this person happened, and it's the power of networking, because two different people kind of referred me to this particular company, and they didn't necessarily do it together. So
Wow.
so
That's awesome.
it was actually, the crazy thing is, I got called for 3 different positions with this company in the course of deliberating, and the third position was just perfect for me because it allowed me to continue to stay in the aviation business, which I truly ended up loving. I fell in love with it. I did not come here on purpose. I landed here accidentally, but I have been bitten by the aviation bug, and I love it. So it allowed me the opportunity to stay in it, and also the opportunity to continue to travel, to continue to network, and to continue to kind of build for a company that wanted a presence in the U.S. market. They run airports in other continents. Actually, they also they're based out of Germany, and so they run the airports in Germany, but they actually have a presence in all the different continents with several different airports. In the U.S., they actually don't run any airports in the U.S. because most of our airports in the U.S. are not privately owned. Most of them are usually owned by a city entity or a authority, etc. But in the U.S., their presence is through a developer, a concession developer company. So with me actually managing a concession developer contract for all those years that I was at PHL. It allowed me the opportunity, and it gave them a different perspective too, because who better to know or to help you navigate an airport and what an airport wants than the person that came from the airport. You can it's kind of like the teacher, because of course the airport pretty much for the most part lays down what they want. So who better to tell you how to help your business kind of meet the needs of your airport client than a person that came from the airport itself.
So not only do you know how the airport likes things to be run, but you also have the important relationships to actually facilitate for this foreign company that makes you indispensable at the end of the day. So you now have more authority, you make more money than the experience that you have. And what I always found to be ironic is that you told me about the story, the person that they jumped over you was a person looked like us, but you felt bad for him in the position because he was a family man, young and getting a start, but he got, used as a pawn. Even though he got a significant income, he actually was paid less than somebody that was qualified to do the job like you. And then on top of that, you get blessed with this great opportunity and you're making far more money than that person. So with that said, we got a few minutes left. So what I would like to ask you is, would you encourage people to get into the aviation community, especially, women, and what would be the right skills they need to have to harness to actually get in position to do what you like? And what's the reward outside of the financial?
So I would definitely encourage people to get into the aviation business. And I'm going to tell you that one of the biggest skills you need to get into it is to be relational. And you have to be able to deal with people and know how to manage people. And sometimes you don't always have the authority over people. And a lot of times the best thing to have, you don't need authority, you need influence. So it is very important to have one, like people, like dealing with people, and also be influential. So those are skills that you definitely need in relational in this industry.
Those are soft skills. They don't teach that in school, do they? Soft skills.
No,
You're talking about intangible soft skills that really have nothing to do with the technical stuff that was more important than the technical is them soft skills that you have in abundance. I think I have a challenge with college institutions that they charge you a whole bunch of money, but they don't teach you emotional intelligence. They don't teach you intangibles and having soft skills. They teach you the hard stuff, but that doesn't get you ahead, because if you didn't have that relationship with the gentleman that was your director and he didn't, basically be an angel to you and let you shine without him being, intimidated by your presence and your blackness as being a strong black woman, he would have actually tried to deter you, which ended up happening. Now you come back and all this comes to the forefront that you actually are a blessing to everybody. So, man, I love that. We need to teach our people that primarily. And that's why I like to always talk about, the STEM process, that accessibility, that mentorship. So give me a summarization of how important mentorship is and accessibility, notwithstanding the skills you have to develop, but how important is accessibility and mentorship in your aspect of life, and even in general? How important is that?
Mentorship is, it is invaluable, because one, it gives you, you have a person that gives you guidance, a person that kind of helps shape you, a person that you can look at, emulate, learn from, and everything that you learn is not always actually told, it's also what is seen. So having access to mentors and people to help you along is extremely important. And I'll say that when you get to places, one of the things you need to do is make sure that you are that mentor and not just be a recipient or a mentee. Because you know, you need to be both ways. And even once you've quote unquote arrived or got to where you are, you still need to be able to be a mentee. So I still, even though I am successful, or not to say this is the end of where I'm going to go, but even at the highest heights, you still need to have a mentor. And but it's no good if you're only reaching up, you must reach down. So it is important to work both ways. So I would encourage you to actually everybody to, one, figure out how you can be a mentor, but also figure out how you can also be a mentee, and you can be both at the same time.
Man, that is powerful. You know, one of my mentors, George Fraser, said, "Hey, if you keep getting invited to the dinner table, you're not bringing something to the table, you're not going to get invited back." And I think that epitomizes what you're talking about. So let me ask you this: what are you excited about for 2021, 2022, and what do you do outside of aviation? If you can share that with us real quickly in about 60, 90 seconds, then we're going to turn it over to Nick, and we're going to close out this amazing first interview. And I'm definitely going to want to have you come back, because your story doesn't deserve, you know, less than, you know, a couple of hours, but we want to be able to have a continuous story so we can follow up and give some people some backstory on some of the things we're going to be doing together in the future. So talk to me about what you're excited about for the remainder of 2021 and 2022, and what are the things, some of the things you're doing outside of aviation that you're excited about?
So I am excited about 2021, 22, because though we have COVID in the coronavirus, it has given us an opportunity to reset. And the reset is to be reevaluating what is important, and look at things and see what works and what hasn't worked. And it also gives you the opportunity to reconnect with family. It reconnect with friends, reconnect in all aspects of your life. So I am excited that we kind of get a fresh start, because that is the blessing in COVID, because we were all so busy and doing so much. If nothing else, this has allowed us to slow down and look and reevaluate and reassess. So I am excited about the opportunity of the new things to come outside of the aviation or outside of work. Some of the things I do, as you said, I connected you with a company, organization called BET, Bringing Everyone Together, which is a organization that a friend of mine has, that mentors young students from an area called Logan in Philadelphia. So sometimes I do certain things with him every now and again. And then there is another organization that I am connecting you to called All Stars, and that is middle school and high school students. And one of the founders of that particular organization, he wants to expose young people to things that they haven't, especially careers that they don't know about, and then also make sure they have financial literacy, which I know you always, the money coach always talks about. So that is a great connection. And then lastly, in what I've done for years, I briefly glanced over it a little bit. Besides being a mom of two wonderful daughters, I've also I said I was the child of a musician, so I also serve in ministry in church, and I sing and teach music, being a child of a musician, teaching voicing, and have done that for youth as well as adults. So outside of actual work, I also have the ministry or the work of the church, which I believe the church is to serve the community. So down through the years, I've done many things and ministry, not just music ministry, but also helping out in various other ministries, being involved in a very active church, which does a lot in the community. So I am very involved in the community that way as well.
Oh man, you are a true Renaissance woman. I'm telling you, you're doing a lot of amazing things. I don't even know how you have time to sleep with all the programs that you're involved in and doing them at an impactful level. So Robin, how can we get in touch with you? What's your contact information for the public, not your private information, but your public information? How can we get in touch with you so Nick can run that across the scene and he can put it in the description? So you can slowly tell us what your contact information is and you can share that with us. Go right ahead, please.
So I am on LinkedIn. So that platform, you can reach me very easy. You just search Robin Gibson and from Philadelphia, and you'll find me in aviation. So that is one way to reach out to me. I'm on Facebook, and my page is my page. I have a lot of followers. I am not an Instagrammer. My kids are Instagrammers. I can't tell you that I am an Instagrammer. That is another way that you can search me. You may find me on Facebook under Robin Newkirk. Which it is Robin Gibson is my name, but the search may come under my maiden name, which is Newkirk. But you can find me on not Instagram, on LinkedIn, as well as Facebook is the way. And I do answer inboxes and things. So it's very easy to get in touch with me on those social media platforms.
Oh man, that is awesome. You know, one thing we didn't touch on, I want you to answer this question because most people probably right now, well, hey man, this is the Financial Expert Series with DJ the Money Coach. Give us a ballpark of what kind of money range that you could make getting in to your industry where you started and where you are. Give us a range, because people want to know, hey, if I'm going to take my talents and skill, I'm looking to make six figures. I want to one day be a millionaire. What is a range that we can expect to make at the beginning, the middle, and where you are? If you can share that with us to show them, because you are an expert in your line of industry, and we know you make a very good living. Can you share that with us, please?
Yes. So usually entry level now is about, I believe now is about 40,000. When I was entering 20 years ago, it was a little under maybe 28 or whatever. But you can expect to make 40,000. When you kind of get to mid-level, you're somewhere in the, I say 70,000 range. And then the upper area management, true management, you're in about 85,000-90,000. And then director level, you can go up as high as 120 to 160,000. And then if you go above that, usually, which is true C-suite level in the in aviation, or in my area, you're pretty much maybe about 180 to 200,000 dollars, pretty much. So it is a six-figure income job.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is it can be very lucrative.
Man, that is amazing. And what's your official title again, Robin?
Director of Quality Assurance.
Director of Quality Assurance. Man, that is awesome. So we're going to do right here, Rick, I mean, what we do, not Rick, I don't know why I was calling you Rick, Nick.
Nick.
Nick usually gives us his summarization of what he got out of this amazing interview with our superior guest, who, what I come to find out, you are a Renaissance person, master of networking, you are a consensus builder, and you are the epitome, more than I am, of the Platinum Rule. So Nick, what did you get out of this amazing interview with Miss Robin Gibson, the Renaissance lady that she is, an extraordinary networker, and she's the Pied Piper. That's what I'm gonna call. And before I say anything else, if you know her, she gonna make you a Philadelphia Philly fan.
Oh, you know, before you go, Nick, I should have put on my Eagle shirt because, you know, if ever you like an Eagle, or you if you like just an Eagle, not, you know, the Eagles, you are, that makes you Eagles fan. Go Eagles.
She converted me. He converted me, Nick, to Eagles fan, because I like Jalen Hurts. So what'd you get out of it, Nick? What'd you get out of this interview?
Wow, really? That easily? Oh man.
You just gotta like an Eagle. Like an eagle, not even a Philadelphia eagle, you know, the bird, the eagle.
Oh, come on, DJ. How you go out like that? Man. But I mean, for those of you out there watching, you know, our audience, our family members, those of you who have been following the Expert Financial Series, or not just the Expert Financial Series, but just any of our programs, you would think that our guests are, you know, rehearsing these answers, you know, ahead of time, but this is actually live on the spot. You know, this is no coincidence that just about every one of our guests and our experts emphasize the importance of relationships, you know, mentoring, apprenticeship, networking. That's no coincidence that they all mention this. I think every single one of our interviews, our guests have mentioned that either directly or indirectly, and you know, that lets you know that, you know, relationships are vital. And, you know, much respect to Robin for being, you know, the word she used was relational, you know, but also approachable, you know, because, you know, oftentimes folks, they get positions and, you know, they become better than everybody else. But, you know, we don't get that impression from Robin. And, you know, we can see how, you know, relationships, networking, mentorship, we can use those things to break into industries such as aviation that are traditionally, you know, dominantly run by, you know, white males. So that shows you how important, you know, these soft skills are. You know, so Robin, thank you again for joining us on this Tuesday night. You know, this Tuesday work night. You know, thank you for joining us. You know, we look forward to having you back on again and continuing to build that relationship with you.
Yeah, man. I mean, that sums up in a nutshell, Nick. I mean, Robin, we want to thank you for your time. Thank you for the amazing story that is not unique, but it is special. But every person that looks like us can aspire to do the exact same thing that Robin has achieved. And what I'm excited about is that we're building a relationship to actually serve our younger portion of our community, that give back part that has nothing to do with monetary value, but it has to do with creating significance and legacy. So, Robin, I'm encouraged. I'm excited about talking to BET Talks. I'm excited about talking to the elementary program you introduced me to, so that I can show people that we have industries that they don't even know about that pertain around money. And at the end of the day, if you master money, you can master everything else. And the relational part just makes it even better. And that gives you what we always end our platforms with, that pom-pom lifestyle. So Robin, we want to thank you, and we want you to enjoy that pom-pom lifestyle, which is plenty of money and peace of mind. And we want you to come join us on the beaches of the World Club. And your beach don't have to be an ocean, but it's wherever you like to be free. That's your beach. I'm DJ the Money Coach for Nick and our amazing guest, Robin Gibson. We'll see you next time. Thank you very much.